Now, this next question comes from so many of you, but I didn't just pick one name because I constantly am asked this question at least, I want to say once a week. And this is the question or some variety of the type of a question. And it goes basically like, was your PhD worth it? Do you recommend me to get a doctorate? What types of opportunities came about from everything with your doctorate? Now, here is my answer. I cannot tell you yes or no. There is no blanket answer. There is never going to be a type of absolute answer of yes, you should go back to school or no, you shouldn't. Because everyone, different backgrounds, different experiences, different goals, a PhD or an EDD isn't for everybody. And of course, it shouldn't be because if you don't need it, well, then that's kind of like questioning about, well, why do you want it in the first place if it's not going to help you with getting a job? Of course, if it's going to help you with your career or for where you want to go in the future for a 5-year, 10-year, whatever longer plan, then that may make sense. It really does depend upon the goals and what you want to do. And of course, what you think about when it comes to just education in general. Because if you value and you love education, you love going back to school, then like, great, I'm not going to stop you. But you really need to think about this from an individual basis of does it make sense for you? Now, for me, getting a doctorate was worth it. And the reason why I actually went for my doctorate in the first place, and you can actually see the original status I posted back in 2013 of when I was going to school. And I was saying about how I can't wait to be called Dr. Luke Hobson. And I'm so excited to pursue things. And I did not think I would be making videos on the internet about instructional design almost 10 years later. So, yeah, fun fact. Anyway, but when I went to apply for everything with my EDD, the goal was that I wanted to become a dean. Like that was the goal. It was not to become an instructional designer until I started to network with more instructional designers and learn what the heck it is that they actually do for a job. And then that kind of opened my eyes. But originally, I wanted to become a dean. That is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an instructor, then work my way up to dean. And I knew that I needed to have a doctorate in order to do that. I have plenty of friends who were deans that had to go back to school later on in life. And they were like, oh my gosh, I wish I had done this sooner. So as soon as I was talking with them saying, hey, I think I want to do this, they were all in agreement of, well, then go back to school. You need a doctorate if you want to become a dean at a major university. It is what it is. Just go do it now. So off I went and I applied and I got in. And my initial assumption about everything was that just the degree alone is going to help me. And that is not true. Nobody cares if you just have the piece of paper. It looks great. Yeah, you can call yourself a doctor and woo, but the entire thing about that is more about, well, what did you learn? What were your experiences? Who did you make connections with? How did you build your network? What professors taught you? Like there's so much that goes into here as far as you're figuring out what was your overall learning experience with the doctorate. And then what did you do with that? And of course, what can you do with this new information that can go and help out an organization or, something else in that type of capacity? So no one is going to say like, super, you got the nice and shiny white piece of paper. You're great. It's not really how it works. So what I did do that I found incredibly helpful is that I took what I was learning about from the classroom and I started to apply it into my day job as much as humanly possible. So when it came down time to trying to be able to go and revise online courses, I took everything I learned about from the mixed methodology that I used for my research. That's now how I currently revise courses at MIT and how I train other people to do it as far as for how to fix online courses. I found a model that worked by essentially taking what I was learning about on the job, combining that with the entire methodology from my dissertation. I put it together and was like, hey, here we go. This makes a lot of sense. We should do this for going forwards. When I was going through the interviewing process, I took what I was learning about from my comps, my comprehensive exams, and I took that type of information and I brought it with me to interviews. So if someone was asking me about questions on gamification, adaptive learning, or like anything else for what the 21st century learner is going to need for going forwards, I could accurately answer that and give them a ton of information. And I went as even far as for with the interviewing process of using whiteboards and scribbling it down just to show them in the interview of like, I know what I'm talking about because I had to take comps. I had to pass these hardest exams that I will probably never take. As long as I live, nothing will ever come close to those, the difficulty of those exams. But I learned so much and I still retain this information to this day. So was getting a doctor worth it for me? Yes, it was. It helped me out. It helped me with the interviewing process. It helped me eventually become an instructional designer. It helped me with networking. It helped me with a variety of different things that I would never have access to the opportunities if I didn't go through the entire learning experience with everything that I learned about from with being a part of my cohort, from the exams to the dissertation process and to above and beyond. So yes, it did help me out. Yes, to me, it was worth it. But for you, once again, it is not an absolute answer. But if you want to be able to think about this more of like, well, is it worth it for me? Should I do this? I have an entire YouTube video as well too talking about this. So watch that video first to talk about those steps and learn from them. But to shorten that entire thing for you is that you really should be connecting with everybody to see, is this program right for you? So by that, I want you to connect with the current students. Are they happy? Do they find the information relevant? Do they feel a sense of accomplishment and reward of everything that they're currently going through with the program? Talk to graduates of the program. Same thing. Are they happy about everything? Where are they now? Did it help them find a job? Did it help them accomplish their goals? Because, of course, if they say, no, it didn't really help me, or like, I kind of regret things, well, then, hey, there's your sign to not go for that PhD at that school specifically. And then, of course, talk with the folks that work there, the directors, the instructors, the professors, the administrators, whoever is going to give you the time of day. Talk with them to learn more about their program, the benefits about it, and why you should go there in the first place. They should be trying to be able to persuade you to show how awesome and how fantastic their program is. That's what it's really all about. That was really my convincing point when thinking about my EDD program, as far as for like, do I want to actually go here? Yes or no? Well, it was the fact that I reached out to the director. She offered me an opportunity to come in and shadow for the day. And I was able to have a kind of like a coffee chat with her in between the breaks of the courses. But I was there from 8 to 5 o'clock talking with students at different levels and just seeing about, did they really enjoy it? So I talked to folks who are just entering in the program, and I talked to folks who are working on their dissertations and they were already like kind of at the end of their entire academic journey. By doing that, I was able to have all my questions answered. I could see the enthusiasm. I could see that this was going to be the place that was going to help me. So then I made that correct decision. But I would never just go and look at a school online and say, that looks good, and go for it. So please do your homework and make sure before you go and spend years of your life to do something as far as with research, of course, spending thousands of more dollars and putting yourself literally into stress. It's a stressful process. I mean, very rewarding and awesome, but let's be honest, it's a ton of work. So before you go through all of those things, please think about the bigger picture and do your homework.